Hey guys, welcome to tonight's class. Who do we have joining us tonight? Come on in so we can get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll give you guys a few more minutes to join us. But say hello in the comments. I see the real Don Watt. I think that's I'm not even going to butcher your name. Nope. Nope. But hey, I'm excited. Why you put it in the comments? Now I gotta try to say it. Okay, hold on. I wrote it down. Hold on. Let me look at my notes. Ho, mm, Hawaiiatha. Please tell me I said that right. Please, Hawaiiatha. I hope I said that right. Hiawatha. Hiawatha. See, you know what? I'm not gonna try it. I'm not gonna try it. Great. Hiawatha. Is that right? Okay. All right. Let me write that down. Hold on. Because I do not want to get this from Hiawatha. 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 I'm going to have to practice that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. And then we'll just let everybody else just kind of trickle in. So, welcome to tonight's video, tonight's class, whatever you want to call it. Tonight, we're going to be discussing how to read government contracts. I have been doing some research and I've noticed that this has really been like one of the top searched questions on YouTube. So I felt like we should, do a class on this. So tonight I want us to just explore some different opportunities and go through the solicitation so I can show you guys how to really kind of break it down into pieces. So, Hiawatha, since you're on here, okay, great. So since you're on here, go ahead and give me like a NACE code or something, an example of what you've been looking at so that we can just I can share my screen and I can kind of break it down. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go to Sam and get prepared. Nope, don't need to sign in. Advance. Notice type 48230. Okay. We're only going to look at solicitations and combined synopsis tonight because I want you guys to see how to break those down so that you can learn how to respond to them. Okay, so I'm only seeing like 2, but I mean we can use those. Let me We'll look at the V Type 6 engine transportation one. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I'll look at that one next. So this is V Type 6 engine transportation. It's a combined synopsis. It's a total total small business set aside. Underneath specialized freight, place of performance is Oregon. Description typically gives us an overview of the services that's required. Sometimes they put everything in a description, which it kind of looks like they did here, but there's some documents as well. So I'll start up here since we have some information inside of the description. So it says that transport agency owned Type 6 fire engines or equivalent vehicles from designated pickup locations in Region 6 to designated drop locations in Region 8. The successful vendor, which would be you if you bidded on it, the successful vendor will provide vehicle carrier transport that is of sufficient size and capability to transport vehicles that have a weight of approximately 16,500 pounds, each in a length of 22.5 up to 25. What is that? Feet? 22 feet, up to 25 feet, based on the cab configuration. Blah, blah, blah. The successful vendor is responsible for loading, security, and delivering the vehicles to the designated drop-off location. So it sounds like you're going to be transporting vehicles. It's telling you the value of each vehicle. And the reason they're telling you that is because they want to make sure that you have insurance enough to cover any damages or loss pertaining to their property. There's a criteria here that you have to follow all the USDOT rules and requirements. And then it looks like they added questions. There was a Q&A. So each solicitation that is put out, there should always be a Q&A time frame. It basically allows the vendor, or also known as the contractor, to be able to ask specific questions. And they have to give you a deadline for when those questions are due. After that deadline, they're not at it's up to the contracting officer if they want to allow questions, but typically they don't, because they have to be able to provide answers to all of the questions that they receive at that time. So typically they'll give you some time to provide your questions, and then they'll give about 7 days before they give you the responses. So it looks like here that this was just updated yesterday, and the amendment was to add the questions to the solicitation. So someone asked, what's the height of the item? Are there ramps at the pickup and drop off location? What type of trailer do they require? Which they're pretty much giving you full reign. Like, they're not telling you what you have to have. They just said that you have to determine the type of trailer that will be suitable to transport the vehicles. They're asking, can the equipment be delivered? What are the payment terms? Do we make payments through Syncada? I guess that's one of the platforms that they may have used, but they're saying, no, you have to go through the invoice processing platform. So let me just kind of highlight this portion. Most payment terms or most invoice processes are pretty much outlined by your agency. So, for example, for the VA, they will use a invoice platform called Tungsten. And so you would have to get registered as a vendor inside of that platform so that you can be able to submit invoices to the government. So inside of your solicitation, it will outline what platform they use. So you need to make sure that you understand or identify what the platform is, and then take the appropriate steps to register your business, because sometimes you can experience delay in getting your business registered in their platform. And that could, if you have an invoice that's coming up, that could delay you being able to submit your invoice on time. I know when I got registered in Tungsten, it took me, we were actually it was in the middle of COVID, and they were also in the middle of like changing over, or they shut down. It was like around Memorial Day. They shut down to do some type of training. It was like a worldwide shutdown, but I had just started a contract and I couldn't get into the system. So it took almost 30 days before I could get in the system, which by then I was pretty much ready to submit an invoice. So just keep that in mind. So the attachments that they have on here is the amendment, which is the questions. The original one that was uploaded on the 2nd is typically the solicitation. So we're going to open that. You can sign up. Yeah, you can sign up if you're planning on bidding and if you're planning on going after these types of contracts underneath this agency, because if this agency, if this is the payment platform that they use and you're planning on going after more opportunities, then yeah, it won't hurt for you to look into the instructions. It's at the invoice. Let me go back. The invoice processing platform. So I would just look. It should be in the solicitation. We'll take a look. Let's look here. So here is the solicitation. So first thing that I'm going to do is I want to know about the, I'm trying to zoom it, make it larger for you guys. Okay. So I want to know, when I'm looking at a solicitation, the first thing I'm going to go to is the statement of work, because I want to know what it all entails, what is required of me. So I usually do like a Control F command on my keyboard, and then I'm just going to search statement of work. Okay, it's not in there. Oh, wait, no, I spelled it wrong. Okay, once I find the statement of work, it says attachment 1 is the statement of work. Okay, here we go. So once I find that, I'm basically just going to read through it, see exactly what they need me to do. This is the first kind of section that you want to digest. So after you got like at least a basic understanding of what they need, the next thing that I'm going to look at is the instructions to offerers. That's going to tell me how we need to submit the offer or solicitation. Okay, so right in here. So once you got an understanding of what they need, okay, so for example, have you already reviewed this contract already? Do you have an understanding of what they're asking for? Do you have the insurance? Are you going to, is this something that you're planning to sub out? Okay, are you going to sub this out, or are you looking to provide this yourself? Because as long as you know you're going to sub, okay, have you already identified a sub? If you've already done that, then the next thing that you really need to do is just focus on this area right here. And this is telling you exactly like what you need to be able to submit an offer. Wait, no quotes. Okay. So after you get your quotes, then you know that, well, first, before we go here, I'm going to go to the price schedule, because I want to know like how they're going to break this down. So the price schedule is right here. It tells me that they are looking, line item 1 says that they are looking for this to be transported from Redmond, Oregon to London, Kentucky. And they're quantifying this by jobs. So they're saying 6 jobs. So you need to quote them based on the job. So when you get that from your sub gives you the cost of what it's going to cost based on these jobs. Then you know you're going to put your price on top of that. And then that is what you will put here. I call it the government rate. Your government rate is the all-inclusive rate with, you know, what it would cost you for labor, meaning your sub. And then any, after you've calculated what your cost is, which your cost should be a compilation of your expenses and your profit minimally. They mean 6 Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me make sure before I tell you that. Before I tell you 6 trips. Okay, so what right here, description of requirement, transport agency owned type 6 fire engines. So they're counting each engine as a job. 3 separate trips. No, so they're counting these as each of them are counting as a job. You're picking up each transportation agency owned, type 6 fire engine. It looks like 6 fire engines. And then if I go back to the price, let me see underneath. They want you to go from East. Hi, Sharon. East Wenatchee, Washington to Elmira, oh Jesus, Louisiana. Let me see what those are. That's the only place I see 4 at. Because it says there are, okay, so, oh, here it is right here. There are 14 type 6 fire engines or equivalent vehicles located at 3 different origins and must be delivered to 3 locations. So you were right, 3 different locations. There's 14. So they're counting that is 6 in Oregon that needs to go to Kentucky. There is 4 in Washington that needs to go to Louisiana. And then there's 4 in Oregon that needs to go to Tennessee. So that is where this price schedule is saying 6, 4, and 4. You're pricing them based on how much is it going to cost for you to carry 6 of them to this location, 4 of them to this location, and 4 of them to the 3rd location. That's what that means. So when you get your price from your sub, you make sure you put your price on top of that. Make sure you account for expenses and make sure that you account for profit. Yep, they did. It said multiple awards. Yeah, so they may, depending on the region. I wonder if they ask that you provide the region that you can service. Sometimes they say that when they want to do multi-award. Let me see here. So the instructions to offer says you have to have an active registration in SAM. Offers submitted in response to the solicitation shall include a price proposal. So when it says include a price proposal, you need to use the price schedule that they gave you. Don't go making up your own stuff. Like, use the one that they gave you, because they've already created it in a way that they're going to understand it. So use that one. What do they mean by backhaul? What do they mean by backhaul and covered telecommunication services? Let's go to that. All right, backhaul. Well, let's go up a little further so I can make sure. Okay, so this applies to if you're going to be providing certain telecommunications services. You only have to complete this if it says the offeror shall not complete the representation at paragraph D1 of this provision. Where's D1? Right here. So the offer represents that it will or will not provide covered telecommunications equipment or services to the government in the performance of any contract, subcontract, or other contractual instrument resulting from this solicitation. The offeror shall provide the additional disclosure information required at paragraph E1. You don't have any telecommunication equipment to provide. So this one, thank you, Triple J. This one you don't have to worry about. So what you're going to check is will not. And I want to say they should allow you to be able to just pull this from your FAR. the DFAR that we spoke about earlier. So yeah, that covers that. So let me go back to where it says instructions to offerers here. Okay. Okay, so number 2, you're going to submit in response to your solicitation the price proposal, and then the contractor reps inserts. But the contractor reps inserts, you can actually pull from your SAM profile. You're going to go log in, click on the workspace. On the right hand side of your business, there's 3 dots that shows up. Click that. The drop down menu will have a few things on there. You want to click on view record. And once view record comes up, underneath your business, you'll see an option that says like current record. And then you can download those reps inserts. You don't have to fill it out unless they don't want you to. So let me double check. So reps inserts. So they want the price proposal, include the following, the completed schedule of items. So that's that price proposal paper that I said, document I said, and then acknowledgement of any amendments to the solicitation. So when they say they want you to acknowledge the amendments, let me go back to Sam. Right here, this is where they're going to include the amendments. So you're going to open the amendment up, and it's going to look like this. And then right in this area right here, it usually will, they'll usually check that you're either required or not required to return a document. But they've already said inside of the proposal, inside of the solicitation, that they want you to acknowledge it. So what you're going to do is in this section right here, can you guys see my mouse? Where it says 15A, name and title of signer, you're going to put your name, John Doe, title, CEO, president, founder, whatever your title is. And then 15B, sign it and date it. It needs to be a part of your proposal. So how your proposal will be structured, like we talked about in the basic components of a proposal, you're going to put your company, I'm having a brain freeze. What is it called? What is it called, y'all? Cover letter, company cover letter, company profile, capability statement, reference sheet if it's required. Remember, that one's optional. But if you don't put the reference sheet, the next thing that comes after the capability statement is going to be your standard form 1449, which is, well, let me see if they have it in here. They don't have it in here. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Nope, they don't have it in here. So since they don't have it in here, then the next thing you're going to do is put that amendment instead of the SL 1449. So with your signature on there and the date, put the amendment. And then the next thing that you should put is that price schedule document with your numbers completed. And when you put your pricing in, they don't like when you, like, let's say you're charging them $125. So it's like 125.75. Only put 125 and then the 2 digits after the decimal. Don't put 125.72599604567. They don't like that. Only 2 digits behind the decimal. Okay. So once you fill out the price decimal, make sure that all of your numbers are correct. Go back in and double check them, triple check them, make sure that your total is correct, because whatever you put on that form is what you're going to have to agree to, or you won't, they're going to pass and go to someone else. So where it says right here, unit price, if you're charging $100 as your unit price, you're going to say $100 times 6 gives you your total price. And then once you do that for each line item, then you're going to come over to your total price, add those 3 up, and then that becomes your final price. Okay? Got it? Questions? Yes, no? Maybe so. Let me go down. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to talk to me. Y'all have any questions? All right, perfect. Okay, so after the price proposal, that document, you want to add in your reps and certs. It says on here, fill in the checkbox for provisions. So, and include a copy. So they actually have on here the ones that they want you to complete. So I would just go in, you could like copy that, and sometimes they just want a quote, and then, but this one doesn't look like it's a RFQ. Oh yeah, it is a RFQ. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I've seen one where they only want you to fill out like one page. And in this case, they want, I mean, it's not a lot that they want from this one though. I've seen like the solicitations that I respond to, we have to give like technical capability statements. I mean, like 10 pages sometimes. So this is on the easier side. All they're really asking you for is for you to acknowledge the amendment, to fill out the certs. I mean, yeah, fill out the certs and to give them the price sheet. So in a sense, they really are just asking for a quote. Because I don't see anything else that they're asking for. Yeah, after you do the reps insert, then you're just going to submit this over. They want you to email this guy and this guy. Email should contain 2 separate attachments. All right, so what you want to do here is they want the price proposal to be one attachment and the reps and certs to be another one. So don't put them all in one file. Download your price proposal as one, and then download your reps and certs as another one. And they said you can do it in Microsoft Word, Excel, and Adobe, but I would just rather do PDF. So there's no changes that is made to your offer. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That one was actually pretty easy compared to what I've seen. So these are the reps and certs. This one is really easy. They already highlighted what they want you to fill out and everything. So yeah, make sure that you search out those FAR regs, like this one right here, that 52.204-24, and then you just include it in the proposal. Fill those out. Yeah, they've made it really simple. So yeah, when is this one due? It's due on the 8th. You got 2 days. So I'm gonna need for you to like maybe interview some more people to see, because you got to meet this deadline. They're not going to accept this quote after that due date. So you got like a day and a half. Two pages. This should really be, it's probably your reps and certs will be the longest. So that's going to be more than 2 pages, because right off the bat, it's like minimally about 7 pages. So your reps and certs will be separate, but your price schedule should just be that paper, that price schedule they already gave you. And to be honest, for this one, don't even, since they was real specific, the only thing I would put in that price proposal file is a cover letter, the amendment that you sign in the price proposal, because it's saying the completed schedule. Yeah. So let me go back. For the price proposal file, only put that schedule that they gave you with your prices on there, and then sign and date that acknowledgement of that amendment, and that's it in that file. So yeah, include your cover page. So three pages for that one, for that file. And then your second file, just do your reps insert. And then you can send it off. And then typically what I do is when I'm like submitting a solicitation or responding, I just say like, hi, such and such, ABC company is interested in submitting the following response to solicitation number. And then I list the solicitation number. And then I say, kindly, I'll say like, please confirm receipt of this email and its attachments. And then that just gives the contracting officer the opportunity to say, hey, got it. Or, if they can't see the attachments, they'll say, can't see the attachments. But I don't want you to wait until the last minute, because if anything should happen and, you've waited to the very last minute, then you won't be able to make any changes to your proposal. So just try to take care of that as quickly as you can. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that one. I really like that one. I think you'll be good on that one. Let me know when you win, okay? Sharon, you said, what do they mean by certifications? So inside of your registration with SAM, they give you, they assign certifications based on the questions that you answer, as it relates to your business. So the certifications are already attached to your business because you have an active registration. You would just go in and just, since they want him to complete these, to fill them out, you would just go in and answer the same way that you did inside of SAM. Yeah. They say start 2/16, finish 2/14. How long would they take the invoice? Okay, good question. Let's go to invoice and see what they say. I don't see anything in here about invoice, so we'll put in payment. Okay, so there is a clause right here where it says providing accelerated payments to, okay, now that has to do with your subcontractor. Let me see here. Let's keep going. Let's see here. They're supposed to give you information on payment. I don't see it. Period of performance. Oh, let me make mention of this since it's here. Once you're awarded, what usually happens after you're awarded is you're going to have a post-award conference or meeting. If that contracting officer doesn't set up a post-award meeting, ask for one, because you want to be able to just kind of like do a meet and greet, go over the, any pertinent things on the contract that you need to discuss at that time. Like, they should always be giving you a post-award conference. Like, it's a part of the FAR. So sometimes you have to remind them because they're lazy, but you ain't hear from me. So make sure that you get that schedule. And it's usually like, it's not in person unless they specify that. It's usually like on Microsoft Teams, because that's the system that they use. But I don't see anything here about payment. So in the Q&A already passed, but let me go back and see. I know they shared something about payment terms. Refer to the solicitation document for payment terms. Okay, I'm gonna go back and I put in payment. It barely popped that up. There's no frequency in here. That's the issue. Oh, hold on, so you can see. If unobligated funds in the amount of $1,000 or less remain in the contract, showing modification for deobligation. I don't know. This one, I don't know. It really doesn't say. It has all these clauses in here about subcontractor pay, But this is dealing with auditing or just keeping on file. Do you remember what we were talking about earlier when I said about the whole middleman strategy where the government can come back and ask you for certain records? You see that clause in there? It's in most contracts. So yeah, it's underneath the FAR, contractor records retention. I don't know. That's a really good question. This one is very vague. Mm-mm. I wish you would have met. I mean, it's not like they really answered it anyways, though. But typically, standard is 30 days. So they may say after the job, like in accordance with the price schedule, they may say like that you have to bill after the job is complete. Let me see if there's anything up here. Multiple awards. It just says contractors may submit pricing for all items. That's about it. Yeah, that's one question that I would ask. Once you're awarded, we're just gonna go ahead and speak it. Once you're awarded, that's the first question that you need to ask. When are we able to submit invoices? Can it be submitted after each job is completed? Um, and just go from there and see what they say. So yeah. Oh, so I'll just send an invoice one. Yeah, you'll send it through that platform. They're through invoice processing platform. Which if it's like Tungsten, it's pretty simple. Typically what I do when I'm starting a new contract, Tungsten allows you to set up templates. So I'll go in and I'll just set up a template based on what I'm going to build them. And in that way, when it's time, it's easy for me to just kind of log my information in and, send it off. And it'll go through their system. They'll receive it fairly quickly and then pay it out, or certify it, and then it has to be paid out. But that's just on the Tungsten side. I'm not familiar with the invoice processing platform because I haven't been on there yet. So I would go on, go to the website. You can just Google this. Go to the website, look for the instructors they're probably going to call you a vendor. So look for any instructions that are pertaining to vendor registration. And then you just go on and sign up, get your company registered that way. Okay. Any more questions? This was a really good one. Next time, though, I'm thinking we should probably do more of these, especially if you guys like bring some that you may be interested in going after. I'd be willing to do these more. You're welcome. Yes. So no, I don't add a little more. So my what I would say my little more is my government rate. So I've already accounted for that. So let's say I'm charging them, it only cost me 1,000, but I'm charging 1,500. I've already accounted for that 500 as being going straight to my company. So I wouldn't charge them more. Am I understanding that correctly? Do you bill for the exact amount of each, or you add a little more? Let me know, Sharon, if I'm answering that correctly. And are you referring to this solicitation? You mean like the exact cost of what it cost you? So like if you were selling tissue paper, would you're asking me, would I bill them for what it cost me? So he would charge, so he would take how much his subcontractor would charge, and then he would add his cost on top of it, which is typically consists of your expenses and your profit. And then that will become his final rate that he gives to the government. Okay, so we compare it to tissue paper. If it costs you $5 to buy the tissue paper, you're going to put your cost on top of that. And then that will be the government's rate. So you won't charge the government $5. You'll probably charge them $7.50 or $8 a roll, whatever that may. I mean, that sounds kind of high, but I'm just giving, examples. It will, your government rate will be your rate, including cost, expenses, cost of service, expenses, and profit. That's what your government rate would consist of. Okay. All right, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I feel like that time really flew by. Like, it's already been 40 minutes. I don't even understand how that happened. But that was a lot of fun, though. I like doing contracts, y'all. You can tell I do this a lot. Like, I really like it. So anyways, if you guys don't have any other questions, I'll see you on Thursday. We'll probably do this again. If you want to, let me know in the comments if you want me to do this again. And we'll do it on Thursday. If not, I'll probably have another topic for you all. Well, one easy way to know if you're overcharging is you don't win. But if you want to like stay competitive, I think that's what you're asking me, you have to do some research. So there's a way that you can look to see, you can use USA Spending to see if the what the government has paid for something in the past on. There's filters just like in SAM inside of the USA Spending platform, and you can literally go in and look in there underneath the NACE code, underneath the awarding agency, the physical year that they purchased it, and it'll give you an idea of what they paid for it in the past. Well, I mean, if it's the first of its kind, then it may be coming back out, it may come out in the other agencies. You just never know. So I would keep an eye on that NACE code and just kind of watch it, check on it periodically, see if anything else comes out. And also too, start looking at sources sought, because if they can identify someone who can provide the service, you could be looking at possibly doing like a sole source where they just, only award your company for it because you're the only one that can provide the service. So start looking at those sources sought and responding to them when they're doing those market researches. All right, guys, I'll see you on Thursday. Have a good evening or morning or afternoon whenever you're watching this. Bye.